everyone, it's me, Rachel. So today is kind of a yucky day out, so I'm making chili for dinner. Homemade, kind of, except canned beans. I do have dry beans, but I would have had to have let them soak overnight. So we are going with the next best thing. So we are making easy chili, and it's just with the things that you have on hand, so you can use a handful of things. Got my coffee here, it's early. By dinner time our house is going to smell like chili. It's going to be great. So put my coffee over there so I can get busy here. The first thing I want to do is put the spices in. You could do it however you want. This is how I'm doing it. So I have 1 and 2 cups of water. And I have a packet of chili seasoning, which is okay. I'm trying to get them used up. I've had them since we moved here. They are from a store that some of you may know called Winco, and I loved getting these at Winco because they were like 25 to 50 cents, which is crazy, right? Sometimes 33 cents. Anyway, great deals at Winco, and very nice to be able to afford to do that. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some garlic powder in. This is personal. You know, if you like garlic, put it in. If you don't, don't. So I'm just going to put a couple of teaspoons of that in. And then moving on to some chili powder. And we're going to do a couple teaspoons of that. Put the lids back on. So did everyone have a good Labor Day? We didn't do a whole lot. It was a really nice weekend, but we hung around the house. I'm putting some cumin in it. Seems like that's something that every chili has. Some cumin and some chili powder and even garlic. So I'm going to put these over here and out of the way. I'm also going to be adding some of the beef bouillon, and it calls for a teaspoon per cup. I have 2 cups of water in there. However, I like it a little bit more, so I always put an extra teaspoon. And I buy the beef and the chicken in these big containers. This one can make 226 cups of chicken broth, or beef broth for this size. And this is the 32-ounce one. You can get it usually at any of the stores. Okay, we got that done. Now we are going to stir it up, and my spoon fell, so I need to get another one. One moment. Okay, so I am mixing all the spices together, and one thing I've always done and I've never understood why other people don't is I put my meat in raw. We've never got sick. It cooks in the broth. And I just don't see, I guess if you want to get the grease out, maybe that would be a reason not to. But I've just always thrown my meat in raw. And even when I'm like making something with chicken, whatever, I just throw it in. Ooh, that was a little loud. Okay. Those can go in the sink. Oh. Got my spoon that fell on the ground. Gonna wash my hands real fast. Okay. The next thing I did was I rounded up a bunch of different veggies that I had. So I like to put onions in, of course, but I had some green peppers, so I'm going to put those in, and I had one little bite-sized red pepper, they're the bell, and then I have my onions, of course. You have to have onions in your chili, at least I do. Anyway, but this is your chili. You put what you want in. And I had a couple tomatoes that I needed to get used up. So I'm putting some fresh tomatoes in there. Okay, let's stir that in. And then I may or may not use all of the stuff I have over here, but I like to have a lot of different types of beans when I make anything that has beans in it, just because, oh, this is going to be interesting. Okay, I got it. My nails are kind of long right now, so it's hard to do the pull top things. So I'm curious if you like going and using the cans that you have to pop the top or not. And I'm just going to get something real fast. Okay. So I am putting an assortment of different beans in. Get my slotted spoon because I don't want all this juice. So right now I'm putting some lentils in. I really like lentils. I like the flavor of them. And lentils are like the easiest thing. Like dry lentils are great. And because they're so small, it doesn't take very much time at all to cook them. And they taste yummy. And there's lots of different types. So you have green ones, black ones, red ones, brown ones. Anyway, they all taste delicious. So got that. So do you guys prefer the ones that pull off, or do you like the ones that you have to use a can opener? And I always make sure I have a good working can opener, manual, just because if the power goes out, I don't want to be stuck without a can opener. That would not be fun. So I'm adding some pinto beans. So you can add any type of bean you want to this. I think the only beans that I didn't put in it are any of my light beans. So like the cannellini or the navy. But I put the rest of the stuff in. So this one I'm actually going to keep the juice in. So this one is red beans, and they're Spanish on one side and English on the other. Small red beans, and they're in a sauce, and it's olive oil, tomato, and garlic. And it's a Goya product, and I really like their stuff. Anyway, so I've got some red beans in here. Trying to get some stuff used that I've gotten from the food bank. So the hamburger and the beans and I think the tomato sauce, everything has came from the food pantry or the mobile food pantry, except for even the I think I said the hamburger. Everything except for the spices and the bouillon and maybe the crushed tomatoes that I'm putting in it. Okay, now I'm putting in some garbanzo beans because I also love garbanzo beans, and depending on what part of the country you live in, they could be called chickpeas. So, one thing I like about chili is it's really versatile, so you can put basically anything you want in it. So whatever you have, tins of, you can add them. Okay, like this. And of course, I'm adding some black beans. Love black beans. They have such a nice flavor. The only thing about black beans is you have to rinse them because they're pretty goopy. But, oh my gosh, they're so good. And if you've never done it before, you can go and be back. I'm going to rinse them. So, if you've never done it before, any of your beans, you can go and heat them up and mash them and add some flavor, and you can make refried beans out of them. So if you get bored of having just regular pinto beans for refried beans, you want to switch it up a little bit, you can go and make refried beans out of anything. So yeah, and also the lentils, if you in the winter when you don't have access to a lot of green stuff, you can go and sprout those lentil seeds, the dried ones, and they taste really good on sandwiches. Okay, my soup is getting thick, so now we have to add juice. So I'm going to add my crushed tomatoes. And I also have some tomato sauce that I'm going to put in there. Okay, there's one. And I think I'm going to make some cornbread with this. And when dinner time comes, obviously, I'm not going to keep my video on for 6 hours. So when dinner time comes, I will go and put a picture on my community post. But I'm also planning on making some cornbread to go with this. but I will make it closer to dinner time because I want it to be nice and fresh and warm. Okay, I'm not going to put the last can of tomato sauce in yet because I want to see what it looks like here. If I have enough juice in it, I'm not going to add the last one. Just stirring it up. So Monday was a holiday for Labor Day, and I ended up going back to work on Tuesday, and I had so much fun. I was the business teacher. Let me grab something to clean this up. So I was the business teacher, and I got to see a bunch of the kids, the high school kids and middle school, and they were so fun. And then on Wednesday, yesterday, I got to, I'm not going to add this last can because it looks plenty good. I don't know if you can see this from that far away, but it looks amazing. Okay, this is ready to cook. And throw this in here. Grab my lid. Always double check. Plugged in, on low, we're good to go. So I got to see those kids on Tuesday, and then on yesterday I was the history teacher and social studies teacher. So history for the 11th and 12th graders and the 10th graders, and then I also did social studies for the 6th graders. And so we had a lot of fun with that. And anyway, it was just, I really enjoyed seeing the kids again and hearing about their summers. And yeah, so today I did not have any work, and so I'm making chili, and I'm gonna make some cornbread, and I'll post it on my community post so you'll be able to see it. But if you're a vegetarian, you can leave out the meat, of course. You can also use ground turkey. You can use ground pork. You can even use chicken, ground chicken. So making chili is like one of the best things that you can do. It doesn't cost a lot of money. It doesn't take a lot of time. If you have a slow cooker, you just throw it all in. It doesn't have to take as long as I made it take, because I cut up the onions and the bell peppers and all that stuff to put in it, and I had stuff that I wanted to use up. But everything that I got in here for the most part was from the food pantry, and the only thing I had that I had to pay for myself was the spices. And I did get the green pepper, but if you remember a few videos ago, maybe, I think I made a video of it, but I got 2 really nice green peppers from the local mom and pop, and I got both of them for $1 each. They were marked down, so that was fabulous. So I used one of those for it, and I also used some of my onions that I had here in the house, and the tomatoes that I had from my garden, I believe. And yeah, everything except for the spices and maybe the crushed tomatoes. So any kind of tomato sauce, any kind of tomatoes, any kind of beans, you put in what you want to put in. You put in your seasonings. As I said, chili powder and cumin are normally used for chili, so those are 2 of the ones that you want to gravitate towards, and then whatever else that you want to put in. If you don't have onions, you can add some onion powder, and thank you for watching, and check out my community tab so you can see the finished product. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay cool and stay blessed. Bye everyone.